in your new project, the R&B you love, we
Yeah.
kind of get both sides of that as well. Because we talk about love, but then we also talk about heartbreak, which I appreciate. So where do I want to start? First of all, I actually want to start with Again, which is
Okay.
the last one on the project.
Okay.
I loved Again the most because I felt it. You know, like the message behind the record and how like you would do it all again if you had to. Where were you at mentally when you created that one?
Crazy, like at the end of an album. Like conceptually, I think after I went through all these different themes and finally got the album done, and I was at this last song, it represented even the creative journey of like you put so much into making art, and so even that can be like exhausting. You know, there were times where I was working on an album and then like stop because I wasn't inspired anymore, or like I was having to like just find it. But it's also just a life story about like when you look at where you were. I mean, we're like champions because anything that we thought was going to stop us, we're still here and on the other side of it. You know what I mean? So I always think about that, and it's like when you put it into perspective, I would do it again because this is how I got here, and I love the space that I'm in now. So I felt like that was a perfect closer for the album after you went on this like entire journey of like music, and it's like would I do it again to feel like this? Like absolutely, I would. So
I love that. So with you saying that, like there are points where you had to like walk away, come back, and rejuvenate. What was it that you were doing to rejuvenate and like gain that spark again?
Living. It's so important when you're creating to like go outside, like feel and like just catch different energy, like you know what I mean, like switch up your surroundings because that's tough when you're working and then you kind of feel like you're like locked in this space, but like as a human, you know what I mean, that's not really healthy. Like you gotta get out, experience some stuff, and that gives you perspective to bring back to the art. So for me, that's what I did. Like anytime I have what we call writer's block, I immediately stop whatever it is I'm working on because I understand I can always come back to it. But I go and just, live life for a second and come back and I can approach it differently.
I like it. So with that being said, how long did it take for you to create this project?
I would say, all in all, I give it like a year. Because I feel like right after my last album dropped, I didn't know that I was working on a new album. I just was creating music. And so it started off like I thought I was doing an EP that was like 3-4 songs. And then I had these different sounds. I had like some more modern sounding music, and then like some retro stuff. And so
you sound like Marvin Gaye on here.
It's some Marvin influence for sure. And I had some retro sounding stuff, and so I was like, I'm gonna break it up actually and make it 2 EPs. And it was still gonna be the R&B You Love, but a part 1 and a part 2. And one was gonna be like my current music, and one was gonna be like what has influenced me. And so then when I thought about it, which was a challenge to myself to create the album, I was like, I think I can find a way to make these different sounds live in one space. It took a lot of thinking, and which is where the interludes come in.
I know, I love all the skits.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was really like me figuring out how to make these sounds work together, because ideally, like, artists would for sure shy away from putting different dynamics like that on one project, you know what I mean? Because everything is about like the consistency and branding, but like, really tapping into R&B, like that is a thing. So I was like, I think all of this could work together. So yeah, I ended up with an album like a year later.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. I will say, I think you're right as far as like people not wanting to blend like kind of different sounds on a project, but it's even interesting that you even care about albums because we're in a single driven culture.
Yeah.
So like I love to find people that are still down to do conceptual projects.
Oh yeah. I'm an albums artist for sure. Like I've always thought that like I can write singles, create singles all day, but my magic as an artist is in context and being able to give you like a body of work that lets you better understand what this single record was about. So I love albums.
So the R&B you love, what era is this for Kenyon Dixon?
Man, that's a great question.
He's like, I ain't even figure it out yet.
Yeah, it's just I will say this is the beginning of what I feel like my final place is in R&B. I think that this kind of establishes my knowledge of and love for R&B. You know what I mean? And so I think anything moving forward technically will be an extension of something that I just created. So that for me was really cool because it set me up to kind of be able to go wherever I want to following this album because there's so many different vibes. So now it's like, what do I want to expand on? Like my next project could be a project completely inspired by Marvin Gaye or a project completely inspired by Babyface. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? I could go some places, so.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So this is like it's like a reset.
Yeah,
but like just an expansion.
Yep.
Yeah.
It feels like that for sure.
I can hear that too. Okay, the interlude where the girl is saying, "Oh, you an R&B singer?"
Yeah.
You know, like she's kind of like over it.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you a lot when you tell people that?
So it's like that was like I was trolling a little bit on the album too because these are conversations that we see online all the time. So it's always like, oh, R&B is always toxic and nobody's singing in the rain and like, you know what I mean? So
I was dead gonna complain about that. Like, every nigga wants to sing in the rain but doesn't actually sing in the rain.
This was literally like answers to all of the stuff, the conversations that happen online. So like she was almost being facetious in a way because it's like this is what people say. It's like, oh, if you do R&B, they assume like, oh, let me guess, you make the toxic music and you talk about like, you know what I mean? So I do get that often, especially because I have a song called Toxic and people love the record. I think nobody has actually paid attention to the context of the record, which isn't saying like I'm okay with being toxic. It's actually about accountability and saying, hey, I know that this is what I could do, so this is why I try and keep my distance and not make a commitment or get involved with you because I'm trying to save you because I think you're better than what I have to offer. So that's like
damn, that's real.
But it's crazy because the term toxic is so triggering that nobody looks into context. They don't care. You hear toxic, it means toxicity. So
yeah, that's a good point. I feel like even when people are listening, because I have done, album breakdowns with a lot of people, and I'm like, yeah, this record is about this. And they're like, no, it's not. It's about this. And I'm like, for real? I think I missed a couple bars. Something went wrong. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that now. Let's start with Fantasy featuring Cause.
Okay.
Love that you had Cause on the project.
Yes, sir. Shout out to my brother.
That record feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the inspo behind that?
So Fantasy, so again, there are a lot of concepts on the album. So coming from the first song, which was In Your Head, it's kind of a tie into that, even like just on wordplay. Like it's in your head, so you're fantasizing about it. And so this was the visual concept behind that is like if we're in this like club space and you're kind of think Full Moon, Brandy. Think about those lyrics. It's like you walk into a space and you kind of catch somebody's eye and you see them looking. So it's telling a story of like, I know what you're thinking, like, and I might be on the same page. So like, I'm gonna save you the time and I'm gonna just say, I know this is what you on. So like, what's good? It's kind of, like that. Like, I'm your fantasy. I know I'm your fantasy. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's one of them records where you got to talk the talk in the R&B space. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? It's art. It's art. But
I love it.
But that's real life. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people are like afraid to communicate, and we sometimes know what they're thinking accurately. So it's like that battle of like, you gonna say it or I'm gonna say it because we both thinking it. So it's one of those kind of records.
I love that. That's dope. Actually, now that you say Full Moon, I'm like, we got to get a visual for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That has to happen. It's coming.
Okay, and then Good Love.
Good Love. Another answer to the conversation. Inspired by Babyface. Absolutely.
It sounds like it. Is it? Is there like a sample? And
no sample.
Production something. I'm like, why is it?
Yeah, no sample in there, but I would say more of an interpolation. So like the inspiration behind Good Love, really Babyface all across the board, but like Whip Appeal inspired like the production, like actual drum pattern, and then like Ready or Not After 7, which was Babyface.
I had to check my phone, like, am I still listening to? Oh my God,
yeah. That record was really like, this is the men don't beg no more. This is the answer to that. Okay. You know what I mean? Because this is the record that's literally talking about how you do anything for your lady because she gives you good love, and it's not just like in an intimate setting. It's like the love is good, like how you love on me, and it makes me okay with being vulnerable. Like there's some ad-libs at the end that's like it's like I'll tell all of the world. Like it's like, I'm not afraid to talk about, you know what I mean? Like I'm proud that you're my girl, that you're my woman. So it's Good Love is one of those records that's just about boasting about being in love. Even if it's for a second, just being able to talk about it.
Yeah. That probably is my favorite one on the project. Yeah, honestly. And I love the content. I'm not in love right now, but
I understand.
It feels good.
I'm not either, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean you're not? Man. How you making love songs? You're not. This sounds like you're. Because
I've experienced it.
Oh, you know what? That's actually what I wanted to talk about. Which record was it? Is it Wait? No, it's 2000s R&B.
Okay.
And you're talking about how like you've experienced love, you got your heart broke.
Yeah.
And then I guess my question to you about the heartbreak is, are you not able to love the same after the initial heartbreak?
I think there's a bit of reservation there, and it takes some work to get back to like, your normal self or back to your center to where you can love somebody without any like apprehension. But it's definitely not as easy going into it. Some people are like that though. I do know some people who are like, relationship ended last week, and this week they're like, "This." I
don't trust those type of people. I don't get it.
They're tricky.
Yeah,
very tricky people. But I do know people who are able to like move like that, and you be over here like, "Damn, you was just like down bad." You know what I mean? Yeah. But for myself, the cancer in me, because everything is sketchy to us. Okay. I'm like, who sent you here? Why are you here so quick after what? You know what I mean? After what just happened. So it takes some time for me to like open up after, experiencing like traumatic events like that. But
do you think it's ever the same? Because that first heartbreak, like listening to it, I started thinking about my first heartbreak. And I'm like, damn, I don't want to say not loved as hard, but maybe not that like openly.
Got you.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so it's the same for you.
Yeah, I would say it's the same for myself. Like after that first time, it kind of jades you. Like honestly, it changes your perspective. Like whether you really want to acknowledge it or not, it does make you just
over it.
Yeah, like nervous and anxious about what's even happening. You know what I mean? So it takes some figuring out.
Yeah, but the singing in the rain. I know we're jumping all over the project.
It's all good
since we're on it. The singing in the rain part, I was literally laughing at because I'm like, I know he did not really include this in One Wish on some Ray J shit.
Had to.
But y'all don't do it.
I had to do it.
Are you gonna do it in the music video?
So there's a video for 2000s R&B.
Oh shit, I didn't see it yet.
And I'm in the rain the entire time.
Are you really?
Absolutely.
How was shooting that?
It was fun. It was fun. I didn't know what I was walking into though, because like, you like, how is this gonna go over? And it's art. We gotta get shots. So I remember my guy Hope, who I shot it with. We were about to do a practice run, and I was like, "Nah, we got to shoot this one. Like it's like we got to just jump into it
in the rain,
because I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to like do it." But surprisingly, man, we were able to do that video in like 2 takes, and then got like some like little BTS moments to insert. But it was actually fun, man. It made me feel like I was like in the early 2000s. So I felt like, okay, this is what this is the bag I was in. So
did you get sick?
I didn't get sick.
Okay.
I didn't get sick.
I was like, dang, I wonder if he got sick after shooting that.
Nah, I was good. And we were inside. It's like a rain room. So you can control like the water, and like I didn't even know stuff like that existed until I was committed to trying to shoot a video in the rain.
That's fire.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
It's a rain room.
Yeah, literally. It's a big warehouse, and it has like, for lack of
like sprinklers.
It's like sprinklers, yeah. And they were in a circle. I think they were like it was like in a circle.
That's really, really cool.
That's pretty fire. So, and I did my research beforehand. Like what really made me like connect to, that concept, I started looking at clips. I mean, obviously, you know, there's One Wish, Ray J, we know that video, but also there's like Usher, Confessions. When he did that live, I don't know if you remember, he did that live at like the BET Awards, I think it was, and he was like on stage with like Rain, like during that performance. Like I was looking at all of the performances with, and of course, you know, for the culture, You Got Served. Think about that Rain scene was like, you know what I mean? That's one of the takeaways from the movie. So I was like, yeah, man, I want to tap into that bag. I had to.
Moment.
I had to.
I'm not mad at that. I love when you and Tiffany do records together.
That's my dog.
Maybe I'm biased. Obviously, you're biased because you keep doing the records for her as well.
Yeah.
But let's talk about 98 Vibes.
98 Vibes, man. That one came together so smoothly. Tiff, and you know, me and Tiff have history, and that's my LA homie. So, you know, we grew up together, got some real energy together. And anytime I hit Tiff, it's like she just knows it. It's crazy. I think that's why I collaborate with a lot of the same people, because they just get it. Like the synergy is already there. I send them something, I don't really gotta say anything. They just tap right in. So I sent Tiffany the beat, and I was like, yo, I actually wanted her to write the whole song. But before she, because I was like, yo, Tiff, I want you to write the song because I feel like your approach to this is going to be crazy. Right when I sent it to her, before she got a chance to send something back, 98 Vibes popped in my head. And I recorded it and was like, wait, I got a hook. And she sent me something back. And what's crazy is what she sent back is actually sampled in the hook, which I feel like I got to do a breakdown of that. But the Do You Right part came from Tiff's demo version of what she had sent me that she had wrote. And I was like, nah, we about to like blend these together. And so I had already wrote the hook for 98 Vibes, and there was still that post. And I was like, nah, it got to be like 98 Vibes, like Do You Right. Like we need that part in there. So you'll hear a vocal sample that's saying Do You Right as I'm saying, just want to do you right. Like, so that's Tiff. That's floating all in there.
That's
crazy. So I sent her the verse. Yeah, what were you going to say?
So you guys both were writing about doing you right without communicating?
Yeah, it was like, so Do You Right was completely on Tiff. I was, the first half of the verse, I just want to dive in it. Up until Do You Right, I had that melody. And when she sent that back, I was like, no, what you just sent, that's the lyrics for this part. Like, we got to put that right there. So that synergy, though, that's like we were already on the same page, you know what I mean? So, and then, you know, her verse is history. She sent that back. Tiff going Tiff. So.
Yeah, I really like you two together.
Thank you.
I love that story. Damn. So y'all weren't even together when y'all made that.
Nah. We're just sending bounces. Yeah. Pro Tools bounces back and forth.
Oh, that's fire. Yeah, you guys definitely have a lot of good synergy. Now, I think Lucky is such a cute song. I hope somebody gives me a song like that one day. That is so cute.
Thank you.
Where were you at when you wrote that? Like, were you watching something? What inspired Lucky?
The black woman.
Okay.
Lucky was inspired by the black woman. I think, and again, to speak to the toxic conversation, I think it's so important to have art that uplifts us, but especially like black beauty, because it's something that's not displayed properly, I feel like, in media and like, you know, where we see it. They display so much toxicity when it's connected to us, you know what I mean? And so seeing how you know, black women especially are portrayed in like, it's a weird light. Like I feel like when it's in the media, and so I wanted to offer something different. And so you know, just think about the black woman and how amazing black women are, and just like it's also natural. And so what I imagined was like literally my visual writing this song was like if I was just sitting on the edge of the bed looking at my girl like getting ready, and she's in her most natural state, just, you know, she's washing her face, and like, you know what I mean, it's like just a song of like admiration for that natural beauty. So that's really what Lucky was, man. And I kind of freestyled that record. Like that the first verse and hook, I cut and wrote that probably in like under 30 minutes. And that was one of them records where like usually I challenge myself, whatever comes out first, I'm like, oh no, you could, you know, try and do something better. And that was one of them songs where I was like, nah, this was my natural response to it, and I think this should be it. So
it feels organic, how you say, like going throughout the day. Like I feel like if I know there's like National Girlfriend Day, Boyfriend Day. That's a record for National Girlfriend Day.
I love
like
it.
Everybody should post their significant other.
Y'all hear that? Post them.
Yes, but that's what I think. But what's ILY?
I love you. So it's acronym for what's the prelude leading into that song, but yeah, it just stands for I love you. Okay. I like acronyms. Like last album,
I remember.
We got WYTD,
Even though I thought it meant something
yeah.
else. I'm like, wait, well, it was something on the last project. I thought it was something, and you were like, no, it stands for, what? I think it was ISY.
Yeah, I still love you. ISLY.
Yeah, my brain. Yeah. It just takes me time. I'm sorry. Bear with me.
It's all good.
Okay, and then the last two I want to get into is Slow Dancing with Kinsey.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the one with Alex Isley and then some. Let's start with And Then Some.
And Then Some. Sensual record. It's about, it's really just about sensuality. It's just
that
one
felt
of those,
like a classic Kenyon. Like, if I'm like, oh, this is Kenyon's in his bag. You know what I mean?
It was literally one of those records. And like, Alex, I mean, we got tons of records
Synergy
together.
Also, yeah.
And so when I first started working on that record, I heard her immediately. But naturally, like I said, I collaborate with a lot of the same people. So I was trying to. It was funny because I told Alex when I told Alex about the song, I was like, at some point we gotta stop collaborating because we got so many songs together. I was like, but I can't fight it because I feel like I can't hear anybody on this song more than you, and I already know how you're gonna approach it. Like, you know what I mean? So I sent it to her, and what she sent back was perfect. But yeah, And Then Some was just, it was one of those records produced by my brother Frank Rose. That was one of the last records that I finished on the album, and we had that one earlier on, and I was actually gonna pass on it because we were trying to figure out. We knew we liked the drum pattern, and I remember telling Frank, I was like, I think we gotta like approach the chorus or something differently, only to come back to what was already there.
Hilarious.
And be like, no, okay, this is it. Yeah.
This was right. All right. Okay, and then Slow Dancing.
Shout out to my Chicago brother, Kinsey. That was an ode to Zapp and Roger. But again, the R&B you love. So you think about Computer Love, you think about I Want to Be Your, I Want to Be Your.
The intro for it is
fire. It's all that's one of those records. And Talkbox to me is such a cheat code in R&B. And so in modern music, we don't really get a lot of it. People don't really care about like real instrumentation. So I was like, let's do it. Why not? And so
they do the new version of it, I guess.
Yeah. It's still like unmatched. Like Kinsey cut it with his actual like talk box, the tube in his mouth, and like yeah. Like he's legit. Like he don't play around. So
wow.
Yeah, I was happy for us to get that record out, and like a record with some good tempo, you know what I mean? Because that's also a complaint in R&B. Everybody thinks like, oh, R&B songs are slow.
It's definitely my biggest complaint in R&B.
And I know as a DJ, because y'all don't have a lot of up tempo, y'all can play that at an R&B record. So I respect that.
I mean, I like both, but you could never go wrong with bounce.
Yeah,
like bounce is just a win.
I agree.
So yeah. But I mean, even Fantasy has like the bounce.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's my after the party record. I love that.
Is that for you? So out of this project, out of all the songs, would you say is your favorite one on here?
It changes every day. But today, I'm going to go with Shine today.
Shine?
Yeah. Shine is my favorite today.
Okay. He said today?
Yeah.
But why is it changing so much?
Because it depends on my mood, you know what I mean?
Does it change by the day or does it change by like the month? I feel like day is too soon.
It's like every couple of hours for me. It depends on my mood. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm connected to the music.
Okay.
So depending on how like I actually feel, like that'll really change it for me.
He was like, at night I'm gonna turn into,
you know what I mean?
It
might be 2000s R&B tonight.
Yeah. Like, all right, no, that's actually understandable. I definitely, and this is just me as a fan, I like the rapper collab with you.
Yeah.
Just bring a different element. Like I feel like having Kaz was a really good touch.
Nah, agreed, man. Kaz killed that. And I think too, my music lives more in the R&B soul space. So I think that
caught me off guard.
Yeah. I think that like rapping and my style of music is something that everybody wants to hear because I get my comparisons like to like the neo soul era. It's always like, oh, like your music reminds me of like Music Soul Child, or like, and you think about those collaborations, like Slum Village and like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
there were a lot of, even we can go Lil Mo and Fab, you know what I mean? Like that was that era of you know, singers and rappers collaborating. So
we have to bring that back.
100%.
We have to bring that back.
100%.
But you're definitely on the right path for it. The R&B you love, I really love it. It's still growing on me for sure, but I think that Cause one, at least for radio, top tier. And then for my personal life, Lucky, even though I can't give myself that song. But again, really, like, I think, like, it's just so hard being a creative in general.
Yeah.
But then, like, at times where I want to quit, even if I was to quit and get a regular job, I would still be doing this. So then there's no point in me quitting. So it's like I would still choose this anyway.
You know, those are the woes though of being a creative. I think that's how it happens. Like you're gonna question what you're doing, you're gonna challenge yourself, but you never stop. So that's what makes it like beautiful.
Yeah. I like it. We need that record to get us through the day and pick me up.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that lovely conversation. You already know we need to talk for all your exclusive interviews with your favorite artists, celebrities, influencers, etc. Now, if you guys haven't already, make sure you drop a comment. Show me some love. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. I'm open to criticism. And also, please, whatever you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the latest content that drops when it drops.